Yeah, I did.
Well, as I said, that's something that reunite, that touch everybody, whatever you believe or your race or anything else. It's really that's what brings all humanity together. It's supporting the mental health, and I think that's something that we didn't really talk about it since the start of the pandemic, and it's something that I'm really close to it and I support it because I have a lot of people that suffers also from mental health, clients as well from my gym. So that's why that's the major reason why I'm here to support that cause and to tell people that also that mental health is something that we should really take care of that.
My name is Aaron, and I'm out here so hopefully my kids don't get used to this crap.
Was it important for you to come out today?
Yeah, I have to. I have two little kids, and if I don't stick up for them, nobody else will.
So what's it like being a father during lockdown?
Everybody's working from home. The kids are home. Everyone's trying to keep their sanity. So, yeah, you're good. Yeah, absolutely. It's scary for their future, and I'm going to show them that I'm going to fight for them, and it's my obligation to.
Anyway, these people keep saying that we're not damaging the kids and kids are resilient, but you only get one childhood. How long does that last? Okay.
And I'm out here because I believe I have to be out here because things have gone way beyond acceptable. They've been like that for quite a while, so I thought I should do my part.
Was it important for you to come out today and have your voice heard and your presence felt?
I think it's important for everybody to come out. I think people don't really realize the extent of what's going on. They don't realize where this is headed. I don't know how they don't realize that by now. They've had over a year. If they value rights and freedoms, if they value their democracy, if they value the Canadian way of life, they need to get out. They need to get out and they need to say something.
So my name is Travis, and what brings me out here is the lockdowns have proceeded like way too long. They're not going by any sort of science. We have real-world examples of states like Florida and Texas that aren't locked down, other countries that didn't lock down as severely as we did here, and they're not talking about anything other than COVID. They're not talking about the 700% increase in child suicides. They're not talking about the devastation in our economy that we haven't seen the effects of yet. We're not going to see the effects until things start circulating. We already see inflation, but this is nothing. And we're dooming generations for a virus with a 99% survival rate. Whatever they're doing is not about the science. And it shouldn't be that way. We're supposed to live in a free country. We're supposed to have choice.
My name is San, and I've come out here because, I want to show the support because all this stuff is ridiculous. I could go on and on forever, but you know what I mean? We're here to show each other support and end this lockdown, you know?
And what brings you out here?
My name is Rose. What brings me out here is that I have a granddaughter and I want her to have a future.
Was it important for you to come out today and have your voice heard and your presence felt?
It is. I feel like we all those of us who feel this way need to know that there's other people out there of like mind. Yep. Well, my granddaughter's mother was terrorized because she was pregnant during this. So it was fear porn constantly. And I think her life has been altered insofar as she hasn't had the socialization, obviously, that she would have had. However, thankfully, my daughter is enlightened enough to realize that she needs to see people. So she has a good support system.
Well, you know what? This is actually my first protest in my life. I'm going on 41 years old. And you know, enough is enough. These lockdowns are not healthy. It's causing more harm than good. There's people committing suicide. You know, people who lost their businesses, they worked their whole life for that. It's really sad that, you know, they had to shut down and being forced to go against their own will. We're in Canada. We're supposed to be a country of freedom, and we're not seeing it.
We need to bring back outdoor recreation for the kids. We need to have them with their friends. They need to socialize. Kids need to be back in school. Give it up for Amanda for standing up. Through the teachers union.
Ontario. I'm the owner of Revelation Martial Arts and Fitness in Brockville. So I came out today just to support the cause. My business has been closed down for 9 out of the last 14 months, so enough's enough. You know, it's time to stand up. The toughest part is trying to, you know, I put everything into opening up my business and making it successful, opening it up 4 years ago. It's tough for anybody, especially a fitness business, you know, getting people off the couch and getting them active. And now the government's not only closing me down every few months, but on the other hand, they're also telling people not to come out, not to participate, stay home. So I mean, it's a tough environment to survive in as a business owner.
Yeah.
You know, it's been tough because I believe in what we're doing, and I believe it's helping people in all kinds of different ways. Mental health, I think, is huge. You know, I see people coming into my business. I can see the decompression that happens when they come in and they punch some pads, or even just seeing other people without masks on and getting out of the house, I think, has been huge for me. It's pushed me to keep moving forward despite all the obstacles, but it's been tough for sure.
And I'm out here to represent and help support for the Worldwide Demonstration Day. The science behind the masks are just not shown to be proven that they do much for what it's supposed to be intended for. In fact, it's been shown to do the opposite. I myself personally, I have mild asthma, and I hardly ever use my pump. And the last time before COVID, my Ventolin pump was expired for 2018, shows how old it was. Fast forward to this whole past year, I had to renew my pump 3 times because of wearing this mask at work. That to me is enough of a proof personally, knowing that, you know, the difference between the before and after. So it's having more negative effects, as is with that.
So, what brings you guys out here?
Just I think that we need to be able to have a voice, and it's the voice of just, you know, freedom and being able to have choices in all of this. There's so many issues at stake, and a big one is just our whole economy and the small business owners, issues of mental health. There's so many other health issues that aren't being addressed. All that seems to matter is this pandemic, right? So for me, it's about having choice and making sure that our civil liberties aren't being taken away.
I just like to see that there's other people that have the same feelings and thoughts, and if you want to get vaccinated, go ahead, but we need to be able to make our own decisions at our own risks. And yeah, I just don't, the mainstream media shows the exact same thing every day, every day, every day. You just like to hear something different, talk to people with the same mindset.
And I am here to fight for our freedoms.
Was it important for you to come out today and have your voice heard and your presence felt?
It was very important, especially that it's worldwide. I've been really hoping to be part of that, and I hope all over the world that everyone's fighting like we are today. We need to fight for me, it's more fighting not just for myself, but mostly for the children and our future. I am. My children are both adults, but they don't agree with any of this either. And they're like, my daughter's supposed to be starting college in September, and that's kind of scary because it's a lot of money to pay out to go to school if it possibly might not even happen. It might be online, and that's not the same experience for our youth today to go to school and not go to school and then go to school and then not go to school. It's so hard on them. And I actually, prior to COVID, I was a kindergarten teacher, and I haven't gone back because of all this, but it's sad. Like it's to think of all those young kids that can't see a smiling face on their first day of school, and it's scary. Like it's a scary thing for kids to go to school away from their parents the first time, and now they can't even see their teacher's face.
What do you think about the gathering today in Ottawa?
Well, I'm glad people are coming out. I mean, I find Ottawa, compared to a lot of other places, is very, very compliant, and they're willing to, for the most part, sit back. So I'm really glad to see a crowd is starting to form. And I think it's growing, and I think we need more people to come out. But I'm happy that people are coming out, yes.
But I want to keep my rights. And this is, ça vient beaucoup me chercher. Je travaille dans un CHSLD. I take care of seniors. And they told me if I'm not how do you say, vaccinated, now I have to be tested 3 times a week, PCR, 3 times, because I refused. This is not liberty. This is not freedom. I feel like, and before they were all vaccinated, it was not obligated. Now they are vaccinated and it's obligated. That's no sense.
I'm just sick and tired of these lockdowns. It's nonsense. It's horrible for the kids and everything else. There's no need for it anymore. America's opening up. Tons of states are fully open. They don't have mask mandates. People aren't dying in the streets. What are we doing here? This is nuts.
Infringed upon any of our charter rights?
It's infringed on all our charter rights. You can't go to church, you can't visit family, you can't travel. The most basic charter rights, you can't even get health care for a lot of us who need or have surgeries lined up and whatnot. Not that affect me, but it has affected a lot of people.
How do you think Canada has treated its senior population during the lockdown?
Awful. You're treating them like criminals. They want to see their families too. Like, you're going to die either which way in the next few years. At least let them go see their friends and family and kids and whoever else. There's no way to treat old people.
And what are your final thoughts on the rally today?
Pretty good turnout, actually. It's nice to see for Ottawa when half of us work for the government, so it's good.
What's your name and what brings you out here?
My name's Alex, and I came out here to rally for freedom. So, made up these signs last night, friends of ours.
Tell me a little bit about your sign.
Well, it's a play on "In God We Trust" or "In Lord We Trust." So this Fauci guy is kind of taking that role, it seems, in their voice. I have another sign too. Yeah.
How do you think Canada has treated its senior population during the lockdown?
I think they would have had it worse. They're getting it. I feel sorry for them because they're pretty lonely and scared. You know, there was an older woman that lives down the road from my father, and she was telling me about how lonely she was. So I had some stuff to do, and I drove my car over to her house. I said, "Come on, Bev, I'm gonna go to the car wash and get a battery for the car." And she was just so pleased to get in the car and be with someone and go for a drive and talk. And you know, she could see that there was definitely some things wrong in the world. And
so, what's your name and what brings you here today?
My name is Anila, and I'm here because I am tired, and I think these lockdowns need to end.
And was it important for you to come out today?
Yes, it's important for me to come out because it's affecting my mental health and many people that I know. So I gotta try, you know. So.
And what are your final thoughts on the rally today?
Well, I'm glad to see more people, and that's a great turnout, I think, considering the turnouts that we've had before. Sad and relative to the size of population of Ottawa, but I'm glad to see more people, and I hope the movement continues to grow.
Well, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
And do you think the lockdown has infringed upon our charter rights?
Well, obviously it has, obviously. But right from day one, they haven't done things in an evidence-based way. They didn't come up with an evidence-based strategy, and I was very upset with that right from the get-go. So really, I do not believe that their response has been about the virus, about health and safety. I really don't.
And what are these some of these things they didn't back up with science that you're referring to?
Well, quite frankly, I don't think they backed anything up with science. I think that most of their restrictions and everything else was based on junk science, behavioral science, that type of thing. I don't really believe they used real science. So right from the get-go, the first thing I did way back in March and April was look at the data. And I took all the worldwide data. I checked out what the rates were by age, comorbid condition, that type of thing. And there was a clear strategy that should have been implemented, and it wasn't. So right away, I was shocked at the reaction that our leaders have had.
Would you say the lockdown has infringed upon any of our charter rights?
Yes, I would definitely say that probably the majority of all the restrictions are definitely closing businesses and them saying what's essential and what's not essential. To me, everything's essential. For everyone individually, everyone has their own opinion on what's essential. So who's the government to tell us what's essential and what isn't?
Be able to make informed decisions. They should be honest with us. We're not We're not animals, you know? We deserve that. And we're supposed to live in a free country. Well, if we can't walk to the store and buy clothes, are we really living in a free country? That to me it's not okay. So, you know, eventually, you know, enough is enough. I've been working overnights. I would live alone in a basement apartment. It's been brutal. You know, at first it was like 3 weeks, okay, you know, whatever, a month, 2 months, and then eventually it gets to a point where it's really hard to stay positive. And luckily, with all the free time I had, I put that into research. I've read medical journals. I've listened to many doctors and nurses' opinion, and they aren't of the opinion of the government.
Do you think the lockdown has infringed upon our charter rights?
100%. 100%.
Which rights do you think?
All of them. All of them. Especially I think it's the freedom to peaceful assembly, freedom to religion, and then also the travel one too.
Was it important for you to come out today and have your voice heard and your presence felt?
I just want to come, you know what I mean? Like-minded people, and just show up and, you know what I mean, and connect, you know what I mean? Very important.
Do you think the lockdown has infringed upon any of our charter rights?
I feel everything has infringed on our charter rights.
To do with the lockdown?
Everything to do with the lockdown, sure, yeah.
Could you give us an example?
Every measure that's been implemented that is against our health, chemicals, face masks, absolutely everything that we've done has been the opposite of what we should have done. Taking care of our health, getting outdoors, socializing, isolating when required and necessary because we're not feeling well. But for perfectly healthy people, to be isolated from each other is like the antithesis of health.
How do you think our children's generation is going to pay for all of this spending by Trudeau?
There's going to be no value in the dollar, so they're not going to have any buying power. Pretty much what they're going to earn isn't going to be worth anything if we keep going recklessly like this. And you don't have to be an economist to know that.
Do you think the lockdown has infringed upon any of our charter rights?
Every one of them. The whole purpose of the charter rights, you know, freedom to assembly, freedom of speech, freedom to gather, freedom to protest. Luckily, Ottawa police, you got to give them props. They're not infringing right now, and it looks like everything's pretty good. But it'll go away if people don't do anything. So people fought for this right and this freedom and human rights, and if we don't continue it, our kids won't have it.
Do you think the lockdown contradicts our charter rights?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Which rights would you say are infringed upon?
Wow, like for example, you go shopping, and like at Walmart, you know, you want to buy some clothes, you can't buy any clothes. It's illegal, but it's legal to go and go to LCBO and all of the marijuana stores and, you know, get drunk and stoned. That's legal and essential, but it's not essential to go and get what you need. Like my brother needed some underwear. He couldn't even buy underwear. Like, this is crazy.
Would you say the lockdown has infringed upon any of our charter rights?
A lot of our rights. We have the right to freedom of assembly. We have the right to petition the government. In some cases like Toronto and Hamilton, they aren't even allowing protests to happen. We have the right to earn a living. And by shutting down businesses arbitrarily, picking winners and losers, they're violating those business owners' rights to make a living. And that's just a start. You know, our freedom of speech is on all-out assault on freedom of speech. Social media has become the overseers of truth, and dissent is punished. People are losing their jobs for holding an opinion. That isn't freedom of speech. If you can't speak your opinion freely without severe consequences like losing your job or being shunned from your family, then that's not freedom of speech.
What's it been like trying to run this business during the lockdown for the last year?
It's been a nightmare. I was pretty excited last September when they allowed me to open. They gave me severe restrictions, which I complied with. I was excited just to be able to open my doors and welcome my clients back in. There's many of them that were super pumped. Of course, there's those that are afraid of the virus and feel for different reasons they need to stay home, which I get. Watching the news, it's a constant message that we need to be afraid and we need to stay away from people. Absolutely. I mean, as a small business owner going into his third year, I think when the lockdowns first happened, I mean, it was devastating for me as a business owner. As I opened up, I literally, as I was locked down, I watched my business be forced into the brink of bankruptcy. So, I mean, opening back up, getting a shot, another kick at the can. I went in all in and I pushed and I had some success. But then, it's constantly like having a battle axe waiting to come down and take your head off like a guillotine, because the government's just ready to pull the plug on you at any minute. The numbers go up and it's like, oh, we gotta shut them down again. So opening up a small business like mine, it's not like flicking a light switch. It's a lot of work, contacting people. Everyone's confused. Nobody's on the same page. So contacting everybody and welcoming them into the business, trying to get it up and running again. And, out of the red, it's been a nightmare. But, luckily I love what I do and I believe in it, which keeps me moving forward. But, the government's had it out for businesses like mine, and it doesn't seem like they're ever going to stop. The other thing that really bothers me is the fact that the government's telling people they're supporting small business. I've been listening to Doug Ford on the news, on the channel, telling me he's got my back, and for me it's been nothing but lies. I've been applying for all these grants, and I keep falling through all the cracks. So, generally when I talk to people, they believe, well, the government's helping you, and unfortunately, the truth is a different story. So, I just want to be able to open my business. They can tell people to stay home because I know there's people that are going to come out and support me. And, for me, I'm a tough SOB. I'll get through it. What really hurts me is seeing the students, those that need to come out, need that relief of getting out of their homes, getting out of whatever's troubling them in their life, and having that release of martial arts. And now that's been taken away from them. The other thing is the children. I have a lot of kids that come to my facility. And again, they love it. I hear their laughter. I see the way they are when they come in, the decompression. And, it breaks my heart when my business is closed. And, I'm going to get emotional because I've just had enough. I've had enough of the lies. I've had enough of the restrictions. I've had enough of trying my best to be, constantly shoved to the ground by our government and continually kicked. If anyone's going to save my business, it's going to be me. And I'm done. I'm done, and it's time to stand up.
And was it important for you to come out today and have your voice heard and your presence felt?
Absolutely. Canadians need to wake up. And they need to understand what's going on. The government is not transparent. The government is actually lying to us. Did you know that approximately, as a Canadian, you have about a 0.03% chance of dying of COVID? So in other words, 99.97 survival rate. So they're talking about all the numbers. Oh, we have this many cases, but they're not talking about how many people are.
Canadians are sitting at home thinking, should they come out to a protest like this? And this is your first one. What advice would you give to them?
Well, get off your butt, throw that joint, throw that bottle of beer, and come down and help support us. This is Canada. Come on. We're not supposed to be a communist country here, but we are going to become a communist country if people don't fight against this. Like look at in Montreal, Toronto, we got huge crowds. Like in Montreal, there was over 100,000 people, and here.
meme once that really kind of puts it in perspective. Top half of the picture showed everybody at the airport standing in line for tickets, standing 6 feet apart, everyone. The next picture below it shows all of those people sitting side by side, packed in on a plane, 2 inches from each other. It just doesn't make any sense.
And how do you think Canada has treated its senior population?
Well, I just heard that a big part of the issue with seniors in homes has a lot to do with not being taken care of properly. Like when you look at what are they eating, what are they, are they being hydrated? Before this whole COVID thing happened, my grandmother was in a space, right, like a home, and I recall that when the flu season happened, people were isolated for the flu season for the flu to, not affect every single senior. So there had been strategies in places in, I guess, better quality homes, but we've never really cared about our seniors. Like the whole fact that we had so many seniors all become seniors at the same time, it was just, it wasn't properly mitigated the issues that could have been foreseen. And so if there's a pandemic, then that wasn't thought of. And what happened with food, what happened to their hydration, who was taking care of them, and then the whole issue of being in isolation. Like how is that supposed to be helpful to anybody? So the major questions around proper support for seniors just hasn't been there. So let's lock everybody up isn't, I don't think, the answer to any of it.
How do you think Canada has treated its senior population during the lockdown?
That too. Like me and my partner actually, when COVID first happened, we actually drove across Canada and went to visit both of his grandparents. One of his grandmothers is in a home, and it was so heartbreaking we actually did get to see her, but she was far at a table, and we were on the other side where we couldn't really see her. We had to have masks on. She had no idea what was going on. She wanted to give her grandson a hug, and he said, "I'm sorry, I can't." And it was so heartbreaking because she's like, "What do you mean you can't? You can't hug me? I can't give you a hug before you leave?" And it was heartbreaking to see that.
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about your sign?
Well, like I said, I feel like everything's essential, and by them taking our freedoms away, to me, freedom is essential, and they're having it so we're not allowed to go places, we're not allowed to do the things we love to do, we're not allowed to see our family and friends, we have to stay inside. A lot of us can't go to work, and we have to wear a mask if we go somewhere. If we go in a store, we can't even buy the things that we might want to buy because it's all closed off. And it's, to me, like I said, freedom, it is essential, and everything's essential.
What message would you give to other Canadians who are sitting at home on their couch and unsure if they should come out?
I think that they should come out. I think, if you're afraid, go read the science. Go read the medical literature. Go listen to the doctors, listen to the nurses. Gather an opinion and realize that outside, the science is clear. You have almost no chance of catching COVID. Zero. Sunlight, UV light, is a natural sterilizer. So anything in direct sunlight for 30 minutes is going to be sterile, And lockdowns, the anti-lockdown protests have been happening for months now. And the same people keep coming. If it was so contagious and you couldn't be outside, then we wouldn't be able to continue doing these protests because people would get very sick, and we aren't getting sick, And that's the point. That's the truth. The media needs to start reporting the truth, and they're not. They're not. If you're glued to CTV or CBC took $600 million from the government at the beginning of the pandemic. They're not going to bite the hand that feeds. They're not going to report honestly. So you have to go out, you have to do your own research. You have to put in a little bit of work, a little bit of time, so you can get over that fear.
Is it hard to find these events online?
I'm not sure. I don't know. A lot more now because everything's being censored. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And what are your final thoughts on the event today?
So far, so good. I just hope to. I'm surprised. I'm actually happy that this amount of people showed up. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a good turnout.
Yeah.
And what do you think the lockdown has infringed upon any of our charter rights?
I believe so. I mean, it's been a frustrating year for me, as I'm sure it has been for a lot of us.
You drove all the way from Brockville to be here for the rally in Ottawa.
Absolutely, a small price to pay. I would have walked here to support this cause. And with my business closed, it's not like I have much else to do with my time. Other than and keep fighting and try to change things around. I think the Canada that I once knew and loved, it's not the same, and it's going in the wrong direction. And my plan is to fight.
Well, I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't have any more business cards.
Just to have with me from that perspective as well too. But I'm looking forward to being out here in Ottawa today and representing. I'm originally from the States, and it's really good to see these events happening all over the world. And I just think this is the beginning of more and more of these. And the voices definitely will be heard, and I think there's going to be a difference in the long run.
Well, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
To me, too, if you're afraid of the virus, that's fine. You can mask up, you can stay home, let the other people that want to assess their own risks keep the economy going. If you have a business and you're willing to stay open and people are afraid, don't want to come in because people are in there without masks, they can go to a different store. Like, how can you say I can't have my business open? If I want to lose business because I don't wear a mask, that's the risk I'm willing to take. It's just frustrating that I was quite disappointed in the numbers. I was hoping there would be a speaker, maybe like Randy Hillier or somebody that, has been seen to speak out and just more organized, I suppose. But I'm glad I came anyways. But this is Ottawa. We're known for being pretty complacent. Everybody, I'm sure there's a lot more people that would love to be here but are afraid, just don't want to be seen or with their jobs. They're getting their full pay to stay at home, or it's the people that are down to $2,000 a month that are starting to speak up. You just can't do it much longer.
How do you think future generations of Canadians are going to pay for all the spending?
I don't know how they're going to pay for all this. They will probably replace our way of income with some basic income as a result of all this. And there will be a smaller margin of income for people. Everyone will make more or less the same amount of money. And I think there's going to be some sort of recession. You can't just print money off and create such inflation and not have something come of it.
Any final thoughts?
Thanks for the interview.
Thank you very much. I don't know. You're not a father yet, but how do you think our children's generations are going to pay for this spending?
It's almost impossible to calculate the impact it's going to have on future generations. I mean, my future grandchildren and their grandchildren are likely going to be paying for this severely. I mean, the economic repercussions from this are incalculable, and not to mention, there's a huge increase in child suicides. Children are not able to go see their friends, they're not able to play sports, and by taking them out of schools for this long, by doing what they're doing, they're actually hurting their development socially, and the impact of having less educated children and less socialized children on a society later on, we can't even possibly know the impact that that's going to have. But it's not going to be good.
Any final thoughts on the rally today?
I'm glad that I came out. I'm glad to see all these people here. I wish it was more, but it's just starting. It takes time to get through to people, especially because of the censorship. So hopefully next Saturday and the Saturday after and the Saturday after will get bigger and bigger and bigger until they can't ignore us anymore.
Well, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Boom, boom, boom.